All right, this is Business Express brought to you by InterSwitch on a beautiful Monday morning here on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love live, 32 minutes past 6 a.m. It's a brand new Monday and, of course, a brand new week as well as a brand new month, second day in the month of June 2025. And we've officially hit the halfway point or halfway month in the year 2025. It feels like 2 minutes ago that we were talking about Happy New Year 2025, but here we are. June has already begun. The year is racing faster than Oscar Piastri. For those who watch Formula One, you would know what I'm talking about. But anyways, welcome along to the show this morning. My name is Ayokunmi. Great to have you join me talking business on a Monday and, of course, in a new week as well. You know how we do. It's 15 minutes of absolutely amazing and, of course, insightful information as well. And today we are going to be taking a look at something really key here, talking about Fidelity Bank and Nigeria getting rating upgrades. Want to find out? Well, you need to stick right here and stay with us. If you have any questions that you'd love to ask and any comments as well on what we're talking about, you can do that on WhatsApp. The number is 0809 444 0981. Also join us on YouTube if that is your bag. We're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All right, joining me to talk about this is Ameerat Adamu. She is an investment research analyst at ARM Investment. Good morning to you, Ameerat. It's great to have you on the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me and happy new month.
Happy new month to you. It's going to be a great June. I feel it in my
Mm.
bones. I don't know
Exactly.
how, I can't explain, but I just feel it. Let's keep things that way. All right, talking about what about this particular issue, Fidelity Bank, Nigeria getting rating upgrades as well. But let's start with Fidelity Bank. So, in plain English, in simple English, when we hear Fitch Ratings has affirmed Fidelity Bank, PLC's long-term issuer default rating, that's the IDR at a B, and upgraded its national long-term rating to A plus from A. What exactly does that mean in the most layman of terms? Explain that to us.
Okay, I'll try and keep it simple.
Please
So
do.
basically what Fitch is saying is on a global scale, Fidelity Bank is still operating in a high risk environment because it is tied to Nigeria's broader economy and as well as the political backdrop of the economy. And that's the B rating. But
Okay.
within Nigeria, compared to other Nigerian banks, that's its peers, Fidelity Bank is doing better than it was before. And that is why they bumped up this local rating up to A plus. So globally,
Mm,
the bank's risk level hasn't really changed, but locally it is showing a much more stronger fundamentals than many of its peers. So compared to its peers, Fidelity is doing much better.
okay. So basically, moving from an A to an A plus, similarly to if you're in school, that is a good thing in a nutshell.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, apparently, one of the key drivers of this upgrade was the bank's capitalization. What can you tell us about that particular metric?
Okay, so okay, I'll keep this one pretty straightforward. So
Okay.
capitalization is basically a financial cushion for banks that banks have. So it's basically a buffer that protects them, the depositors as well as investors when things get tough for the banks. And for Fidelity's case, they have really been proactive in terms
Okay.
of their bank recapitalization. Um, they are already close to meeting the central bank's requirement of 500 billion for international bank
Mm,
international banks with international license. And that's ahead of the 2026 deadline, 2026, yeah, 2026 deadline for banks to raise capital. And we've seen Fidelity go into the markets to raise public offer as well as rights issue. And we've seen basically investors react positively to that. So yeah, I hope that's was pretty much simple.
explanatory enough. And I'm pretty sure that everyone listening gets the gist of what you're talking about. Now, I alluded to the ratings, A plus, similarly to someone in school who gets those kind of grades. Now, ordinarily, if you get an
Mhm.
A, you can be promised, oh, you get this. You get an A plus, oh, you'll get this talking about the benefits. Now, bringing that back here. Now, what are the benefits of an upgrade like this one from the A to the A plus? Definitely, there have to be some perks.
Yeah. Okay. So an upgrade like this matters a lot. And first, it improves investors' confidence, both locally and globally, um, in terms of like foreign investors, because this
Okay.
bank will be seen as a more stable and trustworthy entity. And it also gives Fidelity better access to funding. So if they want to raise capital, I've seen them done either locally or going abroad. So the pricing may be better because risk is perceived as much more lower due to the rating by the credit rating company, basically.
Okay, I mean, just out of curiosity here, this just came to my mind right now. Looking at Nigeria's banking landscape, I mean, how many of the banks operating within Nigeria can we say are on an A plus rating? Do we have many of them? A few of them are some, look likely to get into that bracket anytime soon, perhaps?
Yeah. We have a number of Nigerian banks in that rating. So Nigerian banks, we've seen them grow over the years. So yeah, and we expect to see much more get more positive ratings from these
Okay.
international ratings.
Okay. So talking about Nigeria's banking landscape, looking at where we are right now, June, midpoint of the year. I mean, how would you describe the landscape at this time?
Okay, the landscape is definitely busy. We've
Ah,
seen a lot of banks, what's it called, doing their whole capitalization. We've seen a lot of public offers, rights issues, a whole lot. So the banking landscape is basically busy. And we've seen banks, most banks post double-digit earnings growth for their Q1. And
mm,
what's basically driving that? So we've seen the high yield environment, as in high interest rate environment, contribute to their net interest margins, and we've also seen growth in terms of their interest income. So for non-interest income, we've seen a slowdown in terms of that due to fixed income yields and all of that. But yeah, the banking landscape is thriving, to say.
mm. It's thriving. I wish we could say the same thing about every single landscape in Nigeria right now, that everywhere is thriving, but at least the banking landscape is thriving. So that is a win
A win
in
is a win.
itself. Yeah. Let's talk about Nigeria. I mean, it is a season of ratings and upgrades as well, because credit ratings agency, that's Moody's, upgraded Nigeria's rating by a notch to B3 from CAA1 on Friday. First of all, what exactly does that mean? And what exactly was the reason for this upgrade?
Okay, so that rating basically moves Nigeria to stable. So they see Nigeria
Mm,
economy in a more stable light. And this is not the first rating company, rating agency that has upgraded Nigeria's creditworthiness. So in April, we saw Fitch also upgrade Nigeria to stable. So, and what does this mean? So first, Nigeria is managing its external finances better compared to before. So we've seen FX reforms, some building of reserves, basically new policies to better get a stronger than GDP growth, as well
okay.
as just basically boost the economy. And they also, Moody also noted that inflation is starting to cool off. So we saw inflation for April coming lower at 23.71% from the high we saw in March. So all these are just basically the sentiments that moved them towards upgrading Nigeria's rating. And another thing we can say is the that has helped was the increase in Nigeria's external reserves and the shift to a more effective FX regime, as I've said. And
Mm,
basically, in fact, in Q1 2025, we saw a more stable exchange rate environment in the Nigeria landscape, basically. So all
okay.
these Moody sees the country as basically moving away from high default risks, even though we are not out of the woods yet, but we are
Ah,
moving.
okay. I mean, you alluded to the inflationary numbers. I mean, after that rebasing that was done, if we get to that conversation, we won't leave here this morning. Let's not even start that, but just have to put that on out there. But you also talked about currency stability. I mean, would you say that that's a main ingredient for a positive outlook? I mean, in your view.
Okay. Yeah, while currency stability is undeniably a major player in shaping the Nigeria's economic future and landscape, basically. I did say it's more of a critical, let's say, foundation rather than the sole ingredient. So steady currency basically builds confidence for businesses to
Mm,
invest and plan, and it also helps keep inflation in check. So we don't have imported inflation and all of that. And it also
okay.
makes the country more appealing to foreign investors. Not to mention easing the burden of foreign debts. But however, there are all
Okay.
like other factors to consider, like part of the ingredients to Nigeria's economy outlook. Basically, we have oil prices there, which impacts government revenue, and in turn also the currency stability. So once we
Right.
have lower oil prices, that affects our revenue and basically currency stability. So like they all move hand in hand, basically.
Mm. Kind of like dominoes. One domino falls, it affects the other one, and so on and so
Exactly.
forth. All right, interesting. Okay, I mean, as we wrap up the conversation this morning, just want to ask on final note here. I mean, looking at where we are now, once again, middle of the year, are we looking at another plus 3% GDP performance, as the year goes on, or even higher, possibly?
Okay, that's a great question. Because it ties into the pending GDP revision. So as
Mm,
I know, the NBS is planning to revise GDP using 2019 as the new base year because that will reflect a more accurate economic activity. That was before COVID and the
right.
whole reforms and all of that, especially in sectors like the ICT, real estate, and entertainment, we see an increase in their weightings. And however, we're yet to see that numbers, even though we were promised January. But so once this rebasing happens, the GDP could appear significantly higher in nominal
Okay.
terms, and even the real growth numbers might edge up because of the whole rebasing and the addition of other formal and informal sectors, basically. And just to give a bit of context, so we saw IMF project a 3% growth rate for Nigeria for 2025. Also saw World Bank being optimistic about Nigeria economy, even the Nigerian government. Um, Basically, after the whole rebasing exercise and all, we'll see GDP growth well above, might even cross the 3% region to about 4 points.
Okay, well, let's see how that works. I mean, from your mouth to the ears of the Lord. Uh, yeah, I mean, improvement and positivity is what we are looking for. Hopefully, we will go down that road. All right, let's wrap it up this morning. Thank you so much. I've been talking to Ameerat Adamu. She's an investment research analyst at ARM Investment. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
All right, have yourself a great Monday, great rest of the week as well.
You too.
All right. Lagos, thank you for being a part of the show this morning. Business Express brought to you by InterSwitch. Keep it tuned to the Smooth Breakfast. Smooth music is coming your way as we get along on a Money Making Monday. And it's